This lesson is really easy, and since you already know what quadratic equations are, it shouldn't be too hard. So the quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And factoring is practically just finding x while y is 0. So let's jump into our first example, which is x squared minus 13x equals 30. And feel free to do this in your own notebook and just follow along. And if you need to, pause the video and then do it and check for your answers. Okay, so the first thing we need to do here is move this 30 over to this side so that y can equal 0. So it would be, you will subtract 30 from this side and this side, canceling that out. So it would equal x squared minus 13x minus 30 will equal 0. Okay, and you would multiply a times 30, which would equal negative 30. And then b would be right here. And practically, you just have to find two numbers that would multiply to be negative 30 and add up to be negative 13. So what I got was negative 15 and 2 for each one, because negative 15 times 2 equals negative 30, and negative 15 plus 2 equals negative 13. Okay, so then you would put them in to replace negative 13x. So it would be x squared minus 15x plus 2x minus 30 equals 0. Okay, so then you would pair them up. So pair up x squared minus 15x together and 2x minus 30 together. And then you would find a common, factor. I don't know, that's what I call them. So you will find like a common factor for each of these two. So for this one, it would be x. So you put x on the outside and then take x out from each of these two values. So it would be x minus 15. And same thing for this one, but this one would be 2. So you would divide out 2 from 2x and 2 from negative 30. So it would be x minus 15. And you know you're doing it right if these two in the inside equal the same thing. So then you would put x plus 2, but where the numbers on the outside, and x minus 15, like that. And the only thing you need to do after that step would be to equal these two to 0 and then find the x. So x plus 2 equals 0 and x minus 15 equals 0. So this would be x equals negative 2 and x equals 15. And that's practically all you need to do. And those would be your two roots. Okay, so let's do example number 2, which would be x squared minus 10x plus 16 equals 0. So the first step you need to do is go right into finding your two x values for the middle. So it would be, what is a times c, which is just 16, and what is b, it's negative 10. So what will multiply up to be 16 but add up to be negative 10? What I got was negative 2 and negative 8. The two negatives will cancel out to be a positive 16, but add up to be a negative 10. Okay, so, and then you would just put them in replace the negative 10x. So minus 2x minus 18x plus 16, whoops. And then you will put them into parentheses, make it easier. Okay, so what is a common factor between this one and this one? This one you would take out an x, so put it on the outside, and then here you would just take out a negative 8. So negative 8 would equal minus x minus 2. Check if your answer is right. So these two are the same thing, so you're on the right track. And then just equal them to 0. An easy way to do that is if you don't have any number other than 1 on your x's, I guess, you can just flip the sign over. So if this is negative 8, while it's still in the parentheses, x is going to equal 8. Same thing with this one. This is negative 2, then x will equal 2. It's common sense, but it's a quick way to just get your answer. We're gonna go on to our next two examples. If you feel like you got this, then just go on and skip ahead. But if you feel like you still need a little bit more help, then just follow along. So for our first example, we don't have to move anything to the side, so we can just go on ahead and find the two factors that will replace negative 3x. I went ahead and just did it for you guys, and if you still don't really get this concept, then it's practically just this little number is AC, so A times C, which is 18 times negative 6, which equals up to negative 108, and then this is just B. So this would be negative 3. And we need to find something that multiplies to be negative 108, but adds up to be negative 3. If you'd like to do this, then pause the video and do it by yourself. Let's go on ahead. So what I got was negative 12 times 9 and negative 12 plus 9, which equals to be negative 3 and multiplies to be 108. So then you replace it. So 18x squared minus 12x plus 9x minus 6 equals 0. Okay, that's it right there. And then you just pair them up. Practically, you just find common factors that each number has from each parentheses. 3. So if you divide 18 minus 3, it would be 6. And then x2. So like that. And it would be negative 12 minus 3 would be negative 4. Like that. And this one would be 3. So it would be 3x minus 3. Let's see, these two are not they're not the same thing. So that means that this one needs to be simplified more. Okay, so either we did something wrong or we still need to work on it. So, actually, wrong. This would be 2. Sorry, my bad. So this one we go back to this one again. My apologies. And it would have to be, I guess we can do 6 instead. 6x, and then 18x would be 3x minus 2. And then it's the same thing. You get me? So you have to simplify it to like as much as you can so you can get the equation right. So then these two are our answers, so nobody gets confused. Then you pair them up again like this. That was a little bit confusing, I apologize. And then you practically just equal them to 0. So x squared plus 3 equals 0, and 3x minus 2 equals 0. And then you subtract negative 3. So x squared equals 6x. Oh my god, sorry. 6x equals negative 3. And then you divide 6 to make it equal negative 1/2. Same thing with this one. You move it like that. Divide by 3. Which would give you x equals 2/3 and x equals negative 1/2. That's practically all you have to do. These are your roots, so nobody gets confused. Let's go on to our next example. Same thing with this one. What is A times C? Negative 6. And what is B? Negative 1. I guess the two numbers will have to be negative 3 times 2, and negative 3 plus 2 equals negative 1. So it makes sense. Then write it down. 2x squared minus 3x plus 2x minus 3. Then pair them up. Same thing with this one. And then just find common factors. So this would be, you will have an x to move here. And I guess that would be all. because you can't really find a common factor except for 1. So 2x minus 3. Same thing with this one. You can't, there's nothing to divide up here, so it would just be x squared minus 3. These two are the same thing, so we're good. And then right here, a lot of people get confused and believe it's like a 0 here, but no, it's technically just multiplying this and that by 1. So don't get confused. And this would be x plus 1 and 2x minus 3. Okay, don't get confused. It happens a lot. So then you just multiply, you put them to equal to 0, making it x equals negative 1. And in this one, since there's a number on the x other than 1, you would do that, divide the 2, making 2 equals 3 over 2. It's easier if you just leave it as a fraction, but if you must, you can just leave it as a, as a decimal. Doesn't really matter, whatever feels right to you.